Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about how the true AMC and GameStop share count, aka the one with all the synthetics, is about to be revealed, and how AMC and GameStop are about to squeeze. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So, before I talk about how the share count is about to be revealed, I want to talk about the current progress of the Department of Justice investigation. Mr. 1% said the FBI is now talking to people I know in regards to the Department of Justice investigation of manipulation in the market. Obviously, this is definitely a trust me bro source, but it is good to know that the FBI are actually making inquiries. And he said these people know where their bodies are buried, but building a case takes time. But fortunately, I've got all the time in the world. And he said, and from what I've heard, if they choose to pursue it that deeply, the whole enterprise could come down to fewer than a dozen people at the very top, similar to a crime syndicate or a mafia family. Now, obviously, it's hard to say exactly what the progress of the Department of Justice investigation really is, but we know that the Department of Justice and the FBI are making inquiries of these short hedge funds. From my video the other day, apparently in 2 weeks we will know the outcome of the Department of Justice investigation, and it will be interesting to see if the entire enterprise does come down to fewer than a dozen people at the very top. If that is the case, then it wouldn't surprise me if this dozen or less people do end up with some criminal prosecutions and do end up spending a lot of time behind bars. But let's also talk about how the true AMC and GameStop share counts are about to be exposed. Hang Loose tweeted saying, "Are you reading this, and are the shorts reading this? When the GameStop dividend is approved, all brokers across the world will have to provide GameStop their total shareholding information." Now, this is obviously similar to that GameStop or AMC full shareholder report, but for GameStop to issue a dividend, they need to know the details of all people within these brokers that currently hold GameStop shares. And he said, as a translation, Ryan Cohen will get to see the entire amount of shares that exist on the market for his company. This definition of a record date, which is set by a company's board of directors, is the date on which the company compiles a list of shareholders of the stock for which it has declared a dividend. This list is used to determine the shareholders entitled to receive the dividend itself. And he says, legally speaking, no security is allowed to be shorted more than 140% of its shares outstanding in the United States. In some countries, this is limited to 500% of its shares outstanding, and in some countries, like the UK, there's actually no limit to how much a stock can be shorted. Thus, if that number is higher than 107 million shares for GameStop, then market participants will be facing a legal nightmare. He said it will confirm the conspiracy to defraud and financially harm retail investors. It will confirm the cover-up that took place in January 2021, and it will confirm that bad actors have been consciously orchestrating massive manipulation to alter the markets. And he said Gary could have easily gotten to the bottom of this by himself by requesting all brokers holding GameStop shares to send their total shareholdings and add them all together. A simple chain email sent to all of the individual brokers and prime brokers holding GameStop shares that would have taken him 10 minutes to send out, and he would have had the results within a week. And he says, but we all know why he didn't do that, because obviously Gary Gensler and the SEC are allegedly, because nobody's trying to get sued here, allegedly corrupt. But thankfully, Ryan Cohen did. Rizzo Stocks replied saying Adam Aaron should do exactly the same. He should kindly issue a dividend to shareholders who have held AMC shares as of the 1st of April 2022, enforcing that locate requirement. He said, but we are still going to support AMC regardless, with a reduced position and continuous love for movie theatres. Now, I do think it'd be good if Adam Aaron does issue a dividend, especially a share for share dividend, but I don't think it's 100% necessary. Obviously, AMC can't issue a dividend right now as they are still in a loss position. Obviously, GameStop, on the other hand, aren't in this loss position, and therefore they can issue a dividend right now. Obviously, when GameStop issue that dividend, it will cause the GameStop squeeze, but also when GameStop squeezes, AMC will squeeze alongside it. Obviously, AMC and GameStop are in this basket of stocks that are heavily shorted together. Many shorts that are currently shorting GameStop are also shorting AMC. And therefore, when these shorts are forced to cover their GameStop shares when they get liquidated, they'll also have their AMC position liquidated as well and forced to cover their AMC shorts. And therefore, even though it'd be good if Adam Aron issues the exact same dividend and exposes the true number of AMC shares, when GameStop does it and when GameStop squeezes, AMC will squeeze alongside. Guys, did I have a major shout out to today's sponsor, Private Internet Access. That's right, I'm talking about the world's most transparent VPN provider. They've been in business for over 10 years and have raked in over 30 million downloads, so you know that they're one of the big dogs. This is my VPN of choice and it probably should be yours too. And the reason why is very simple. You wouldn't give a corrupt hedge fund access to your shares for them to borrow and to short, so why give snooping cybercriminals access to your private data? Without a VPN, your data and browsing habits are exposed and up for grabs every single time that you go online. Your internet service provider and plenty of other companies keep an eye on everything you do on the internet, so they can profile you, sell your data, and make a profit off of you. However, you can put a stop to all of this. When you use private internet access, your IP address is hidden and your internet connection is encrypted. This way, your digital life is hidden from hackers, ISPs, network administrators, and government censors. Plus, private internet access gives you the ability to make it look like you're anywhere in the world. And this is awesome because it means that you get unrestricted access to streaming platforms all around the world. With private internet access, you can watch UK-only movies and TV shows from the comfort of your own home right here in the United States. All it takes is one click to connect to one of their thousands of servers located in 84 countries, and you're good to go. What's more, private internet access is available on all operating systems. With just one subscription, you can protect up to 10 devices at the same time. Talk about convenience. If you want to enjoy all the benefits of private internet access, then be sure to use the link down in the description below to grab the 85% discount off private internet access. That brings the total cost down to just $2 per month, and you also get an extra 4 free months of VPN protection for free. Plus, you have 24/7 access to customer support and you're protected by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So guys, be sure to use the link down in the description below and sign up for private internet access today. Your digital life will thank you. Now, Jackson Hunter did say that the record date was actually last Friday, April the 8th. So technically the company should already have that list of shareholders. And John cleared that up by saying yes, the record date for the vote was on April 8th. But not the record date to actually receive the dividend, which hasn't yet been voted on. We know that GameStop are issuing a dividend because they voted on the dividend last Friday, but they haven't yet held a vote to decide when the dividend is actually going to be issued. That vote is going to be the vote record date. Now, something that I think is very, very important is where Bioenergetics Silverback says that's true, but GameStop is only giving out a dividend to shareholders that hold the legal float. Brokers and market makers will have to supply the dividend for the rest of the synthetic shareholders. And Hang Loose says, I don't think that's correct, and here's why. I agree that I don't think that's correct, but my explanation is a little different. He says, let's say here is the shares each broker holds on behalf of their clients. Fidelity holds 200 million shares on behalf of clients, TD Ameritrade 150 million, Webull 50 million, and so on and so forth. He says if GameStop were only giving out 152.7 million shares as a dividend, there's no feasible way to decide who gets them and who doesn't. Now, I think if it's a cash dividend, it's very, very easy for market makers and brokers to pay out the dividend to everybody that holds synthetic shares. If GameStop were just giving the legal float holders a few pence per share as a dividend, it wouldn't really cost the market makers too much money to remunerate all of the synthetic shareholders, maybe a few $100 million or a few $1 billion, for example. But because GameStop is giving out shares to those that already hold shares, it's basically impossible for the market makers and the brokers to replicate that because they can't create additional shares on top of what GameStop is creating. Now you could say, Tom, they're just going to create more synthetic shares and give those out to the synthetic shareholders. But then that removes the entire reason that GameStop are accumulating this list of shareholders in the first place to figure out how many shares they need to give out. And because there's no way of distinguishing between who is a synthetic shareholder and who is a real shareholder, that means the synthetic shares need to be covered first so that only the true float is left remaining. If the brokers and the market makers did want to keep the synthetic shorts open and hide them from GameStop, they would have to go into the market and buy these newly issued shares from the current holders and give them to the synthetic shareholders. Now that would cost a ton of money and would theoretically cause the short squeeze if the market maker has to go into the market and buy up hundreds of millions of GameStop shares. That will instantly cause the mother of all short squeezes. And that's why these brokers and market makers can't just replicate these shares that are being issued, or for example, replicate an NFT dividend. All they can do is remunerate the current synthetic shareholders in cash, which in this instance isn't allowed. And that is ultimately why the true count of AMC and GameStop shares will be exposed, and why the synthetic shorts need to be covered beforehand. And I think Shooter Ape explains this really well. He says no one's talking about the GameStop forward split anymore. It's literally what will set things in motion for the mother of all short squeeze. A forward split involves a share recall. And he says a share recall involves shorts paying up, and shorts paying up will cause the mother of all short squeezes across the board, not just in GameStop, but in AMC as well. KN said, I love the subtle throwing in of AMC in there, as if anything GameStop does will be bullish for a completely unrelated stock. Now I think this is just one of those GameStop elitists that has no idea what they're talking about. Obviously GameStop and AMC are incredibly related. The stocks follow the exact same chart pattern every single day. GameStop isn't the only share or the only stock in the market being shorted. There's tons of stocks in the market being shorted, and GameStop and AMC are in the exact same basket. Because GameStop is being shorted by the exact same funds that are shorting AMC, and vice versa, AMC is being shorted by the exact same funds shorting GameStop. When GameStop or AMC squeezes, it will liquidate those funds, and they'll be forced to not only cover their GameStop shorts, but also cover their AMC shorts as well. And I think Ryan Cohen has also given us the shorts exact play-by-play strategy. In the recent GameStop 8K filing, he said, given the aim of ownership of common stock is to ensure that employees and directors have a direct personal financial stake in our performance, hedging transactions on the part of employees and directors could be contrary to that purpose. If directors of GameStop start taking out put options on GameStop, it could encourage them to not help the company perform better and actually encourage them to make the company perform worse. And he said, therefore, we've adopted an anti-hedging policy which states that the implementation by an employee or director of hedging strategies or transactions, aka using short sales, puts, calls or types of financial instruments, including but not limited to prepaid variable forward contracts, equity swaps, collars, and exchange traded funds. Now I think this is the exact way that these shorts are pushing the price of GameStop and AMC down. It's not just by short selling the stock or using put options, but they're also using prepaid variable forward contracts, whatever those are, equity swaps, collars, and using and abusing those exchange traded funds or ETFs. Now we know how these hedges and market makers use and abuse short sales, we know how they use puts, we know how they use equity swaps, collars, and how they abuse the ETFs, but I don't think we know too much about these prepaid variable forward contracts, which is something I'm going to do some more research into. Maybe these prepaid variable contracts is exactly how they're pushing the price of AMC down and magically finding new shares every single day. I think when we understand how this works a bit more, then we can figure out how to combat against it. And finally for today, I wanted to talk about the weekly AMC MACD. Even though the price of AMC has been falling over the last few days, the AMC weekly MACD still looks incredibly bullish. Over the last 3 weeks, AMC has been trending up, and the last time obviously this happened was back not only in January of 2021, but also in May and June of 2021 before that. We can see that after the January run-up, the AMC MACD almost flipped back negative back in early May of 2021, but then soon flipped back positive, obviously in June. Ever since that July-August time, the AMC weekly MACD has been negative consistently, and only now, over the last few weeks, has that MACD moved positive again. Obviously, we haven't yet seen this incredible shooting up of the AMC MACD because AMC hasn't yet squeezed, but AMC's MACD is moving in the right direction. I do think over the next few weeks, this MACD will get increasingly more positive, and I do think that we will see this MACD shoot up again when AMC runs up again and causes the short squeeze. And thanks again to Private Internet Access for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to click the link down in the description below and protect your digital life for less than $2 per month. Guys, be sure to let me know down in the comments below what you think about the true AMC and GameStop share count being revealed. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of my others. Alternatively, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.